sports fans, PBC Sports Chaos. It's New Year's weekend, and of course, that means more football. Lots of college football, right, PB?
Yep, we get all the bowl games, pretty
All
much the ones that matter.
By the way, we're going to pick some college bowl games, but PB, as I said to you offline, I'm so disappointed in college football when it comes to the bowls right now because you got guys opting out for the NFL, and now the NIL, the transfer portal is wide open. So you got several guys that are already transferred or in the portal, and they can't play, I guess, because they're in the portal. I don't even know how that works anymore. So who knows who's playing anymore? You have to be like real-time ticker update to understand. Today, if you're watching the game, like tonight, the Cotton Bowl, I want to pick that game, but I don't know who's playing right now, so we're not going to pick that game. We'll pick some other games this weekend and hope that the guys are going to play they're supposed to play, right?
You're right.
Man. Hey, by the way, one thing I got to say before we get to football talk, thank God Boston Celtics. You almost freaking lost to the Detroit Pistons, who are on an epic 27-game losing streak going into that game. Thank God you won, because Joe Mazzulla, you should have been fired right after that game, and Jason Tatum should have been benched for life if the Celtics didn't win. So, fortunately, they pulled that off. They were down by 19 points. I was watching it when I saw them down by 9-2, and I said, I'm sick of this. I'm turning it off. So, but they pulled it out. Good for them. All right. Little talk about last week, because a lot of stuff happened in the NFL, PB. What was your biggest takeaway in the last weekend's games going into this weekend?
Well, I mean, it's the obvious one, right? Baltimore just showed their dominance. I mean, come on. I mean, we were all.
After you argue with me for 5 minutes why Baltimore sucks in Miami, 49ers would crush them.
Hey,
yes.
We had two games different last week in our picks. One was Baltimore and one was New England, and you hit both of them. So you gained 2 games on me last week. I think I'm still up a little bit on the year, but still, I mean, you go into that game and San Francisco was just defeating every giant that there was in the NFL, right? In back-to-back weeks, they were just knocking everybody off, and then they ran on to Baltimore, and Baltimore just played. I changed my opinion of Baltimore after that game. Like, they came to play. They were ready. Like, I wouldn't want to play them. Now, the only thing about Baltimore is there's been games this year that they haven't shown up. But that's true for a lot of teams. I mean, we've seen Dallas not show up. We've seen Philly not show up. We've seen San Francisco not show up. And then the other thing you have to question is Trent Williams really that much of a factor? You look at all these skill players like Debo and Ayuk and McCaffrey and Kittle, and Purdy even, who everyone was talking is maybe the MVP of this year, and they were comparing him to Lamar. Well, Lamar just said F you to that, right? And now you get yourself in a situation where, but is San Francisco that different when Trent Williams is in 100% of the game healthy? That's my question.
Yeah, I mean, could be. By the way, Lamar, since Tom Brady, no other quarterback in this league has taken a needle to his butt and said, fire me up because I'm going to kick your you-know-what when you tell me I suck, right? And Lamar does that every time. And you're known for saying he sucks. And every time people say it about him or his team more importantly, he gets fired up and he finds a way to make it work. That's
one
reason I like him.
Yeah, and that's my point. So now I'm seeing him more as that. Like, before, I used to mostly knock his quarterback skills as a pure passive thrower.
Correct. Yeah, he's not the most technical. He's not the most finesse passer.
Right, which I'm still not going to say that. But what he's showing me is he can manage an offense. He can run a game. He can manage a clock. He's very methodical. He can pick apart defenses. He does a lot of the things you need to do to win football games, and that's why he's winning games. I'm not going to say he's the best quarterback in the NFL. I'm still not going to say that. He's probably in the top 8, maybe 10, in my mind. But
I won't say I can't say I don't know if you can say that best quarterback, but if you say best passer, that's a different story. Okay. But best quarterback, which means you're a general manager of the team,
which is all
you lead your team down the field. Everything that people didn't say about Brady until he set records, right? Brady did it historically. Well, he's not the best passer. He's not that great, blah, blah, blah. But Lamar does the same thing.
Yep.
That's my point.
I'm giving them all the credit that they deserve at this point in time. I think they're the team to beat for sure.
By the way, here's a stat. I'm astounded by this stat. The Ravens have 7 wins by 14 or more points against teams with winning records. What's astounding about that is not so much that they did this, but before this, only one team has ever done that. Not done that, but won 5 games against winning teams in a year in the NFL.
Impressive.
I think back to the great Cincinnati, San Fran teams with Montana and Young, and the Steelers teams with Bradshaw, and then the Aikman Cowboys with that dynasty. I'm just shocked that there's never been a team that's done that before. So 14 points or more against teams with winning records. Wow. So to your point, there's more credo to them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Hey, by the way, you mentioned the Pats a minute ago. Huge win against Denver. And now Russell Wilson is on the bench. So is this historically the worst trade in the NFL ever right now? 7 draft picks, 3 players. The Herschel Walker was the greatest ever, or the worst if you were the Minnesota Vikings at that time. And now, quite frankly, this has to be passing that, right?
Yeah. Well, Deshaun Watson too. He's got to be up there, but which was more of like a signing, right, than anything. But
correct.
But still, yeah, I pretty much got to go with you on that one. I mean, this is a train wreck. This thing's been a train wreck since he got there. And hey, ex-Patriot backup quarterback Jarrett Stidham will be starting for them next week. We'll see if he can light a spark in that team. But
2nd year in a row. Remember, Derek Carr got benched last year by the Raiders. Stidham came in, won a couple games, right?
Yep. I still think the Patriots, they could have lost that game. They won it. Good for them. I right now, I'd rather them lose. I want them to get a higher draft pick. But
that's all the talk here locally, PB. Locally, all the sports guys talking about why didn't they lose the game,
Yeah, you can't.
But you know what? Bill's not going to let that happen.
No, nobody loses on purpose in the NFL.
Most teams don't.
I mean, let's put it this way. You can game plan differently, right? So maybe you say, hey, we're just going to try to run the ball down their throats. If they stop us, oh, well, kind of thing, right?
Right.
But when that player has the ball in his hand, he's not like, oh, my first contact, I'm going to go down. Like that guy's still fighting for yards. You know what I mean? So I think that game plan wise, you might be able to say, hey, you can make decisions like, oh, we got a 4th and 2 on our own 40. We're going to go for it. Who cares if we don't get it kind of thing versus punting. Right? There's things like that you can do, but the players themselves, they're not going to freaking take a knee or kneel down or not, you know what I mean? Go down on first contact. I mean, that's just not going to happen.
Well, I will say this, unless they have a contract on the line and you have a horrible team, you're probably going to fake it a little bit.
As a player?
Yes. As a player if you're a free agent this year, on a shitty team, which means your stock is down. Are you going to risk getting hurt as well? I don't think so. I think they're going to lay up a little bit. I really do. I hate to say it as a guy that played football for 13 years, but I think that they might lay up a little bit. That's all. All right. Hey, speaking of a guy that didn't lay up, sitting on his couch for the last 2 months, 3 months, came off the couch, Joe Flacco, and he's going on 39 years old. He won again last night, 4 straight for the Cleveland Browns. They're in the playoffs. First time since 2020. Congrats, Cleveland. But is the Flacco story the most impressive story in the league right now? Maybe for the whole year?
Yeah. And you said first time since 2020. It's their second time since the 1990s, right?
I think they won another time. I think 14 they were in the playoffs. I think I read.
Oh, okay.
So before that, you're right. But since Belichick was there.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is not a regular occurrence for this team. So for them to be 11-5 right now, and they got a game next week, I think against, is it Pittsburgh? Are they playing next week?
It doesn't matter though. They're in. They already clinched the playoffs.
They're already in, right? But I'm just saying they could be. Actually, I think they got Cincinnati. I think Baltimore is Pittsburgh.
Cincinnati, yes,
but still, they could be 12-5. Who would have thought, right?
Yeah, number 5 seed in the playoffs.
Flacco looks solid. I mean, the Jets disrupted him a little bit. They made some plays yesterday that I wasn't expecting, but still, good team.
He had over 300 yards again. His 4th straight game of 300 plus yards and 2 touchdowns with no practice before he came here 5 weeks ago. No practice. It's like you or I getting off the couch and going out and throwing. We're almost as old as him, or he's almost as old as us.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's crazy, right?
Yeah, it's like Allen Iverson. You don't need to practice.
Yeah. Oh my God. The rest of the NFL is going to take that to heart. Trust me on that one. Oh my God. All right. Let's make some picks because this weekend, well, we said it last weekend, the playoffs kind of started for some teams and it continues. We're going to start out with 3 games where clearly it's a playoff eliminator. First one I'm going to start out with is the Raiders go to Indianapolis. All of a sudden, Antonio Pierce, he beats Kansas City last week. By the way, Travis Kelce gets benched in that game because he cried through his helmet. Mahomes had a fit on the sideline yelling at his offensive line. Kansas City's a little bit, we'll talk about that in a minute, but what do you think of the Raiders right now? I like them at the moment.
I do like them. They're impressing me. I think from a talent perspective, they're okay. They're up and down. They have a couple of superstars, right? But they're up and down, and you got a rookie quarterback in Aiden O'Connell, who I'm not confident in. The Colts D has played pretty well. I mean, they've played well, and this team is fighting for that playoff spot. They're at home, and I'm going to go Colts on this one. I really am. I thought long and hard about it, but at the end of the day,
me too.
I think the Raiders also have been playing out of their minds, and I think they come back down to earth a little bit this week. So I'm going to take the Colts. G-Money has the Raiders.
By the way, 1 p.m. game, and I always say traveling west to east, 1 p.m. game's a little tough. So the only good thing about it for the Raiders, it's indoors, so that might help them a little bit. We'll see. I always wanted to pick Raiders, but I'm going Colts as well.
You sound like you went through the same thought process that I did on that one.
I did, yeah. By the way, I believe Antonio Pierce is a better coach than Shane Steichen.
And we won't be surprised if the Raiders win. It's not going to be, oh my God, like, so
yeah.
Maybe
And by the way,
win that one.
Take the interim tag off of him. He needs to be the head coach permanently going forward. They blew over with their Bastuccia, whatever his last name is, the special teams coach. Don't screw it up this time, Raiders. All right, Saints, Bucks, another playoff elimination game. Bucks are up right now, but if Saints win this game, they're tied at this point in time, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I like the way Tampa's been playing, and I'm not so impressed with the way the Saints have been playing. And I remember Kyle Brandt on Good Morning Football. He said the Saints are the most average team I think I've ever seen. Like, I'm not going to say
that's a good analysis.
Yeah,
the record shows it.
Yeah, I'm not going to say they suck, and I'm not going to say they're great. They're just so average. And guess what happens to average teams when they need to win a game?
They lose.
I got the Bucks at home. I'm taking Tampa in this one.
And by the way, Baker Mayfield's playing for his next contract, his next team. Hopefully the Bucks can him come to agreement. He seems to have found his home there. I want to see him be successful. All right, I got Bucks as well. What's G-Money got?
G-Money got the Bucks too, so all three of them in that one.
All right, our last of the 3 games we're going to pick for playoff elimination. The rest of the teams are already in for the most part. But Steelers go to the Seahawks. Steelers are still in the mix right now, but it doesn't look good for them. Seattle's a tough place to play. What do you think?
Last week, I was impressed with Pittsburgh did with Mason Rudolph because I was just knocking how lethargic their offense has been. And I'm like, okay,
agreed.
Rudolph in. But I think that's just that initial spark. Like Denver this week, when they put Stidham in, they could have that little, they could have that spark and have that one good week or whatever. But at the end of the day, let's face it, Pittsburgh's not that good of a football team. I mean, Tomlin's done well to get them where they are. But when you look at it from talent-wise, other than TJ Watt, that team's just not, I mean, Micah Fitzpatrick obviously is very good too on defense. But this team just has no, they're just not there.
I would say they're not that talented. Their offensive line is what holds their offense back for sure. They got I like the kid from Penn State playing tight end. I forget his name right now. Vine, that's right. And Pickens has had a great year there at wide receiver, right? I think Najee is a good running back, but he has a horrible line, so that holds him back. But I'm with you. I got Seahawks winning this game. The 12th man wins that game out there for Seattle for sure.
Yeah, and that's what I got too. And G-Money has Pittsburgh.
Ooh, okay. All right. Since he goes to KC, now in paper, without Joe Cool playing for Joe Burrow playing for Cincy, KC should win this game, but KC's in disarray. Last week it showed that with that loss to the Raiders. They're all upset. but that's also fuel for fire because I think Pat takes that to heart. He's probably the third most competitive guy in the league. I can't see picking against them, even though there's a lot of tools like Jamar Chase is back, but he also lit a fire this week with his stupid comments. I got to take KC. What do you think?
Yeah, and I do too for the same reasons. I mean, when Burrow was playing, this became they called Arrowhead Burrowhead for a little while, right? I mean,
Yeah.
and this is becoming one of the better rivalries in the AFC right now. It's like the old like Pats Indy rivalry. Like this is becoming like a rivalry. Now, if Burrow was playing, this would be the game of the week, hands down.
And I would take Cincinnati.
And I probably would take Cincinnati too, right? But I got to go with you. It's hard to pick it. Kansas City's fired up right now. Like they know if they lose, by the way, and the Raiders beat Indy, which we said could very well happen, even though we took Indy next week, the Raiders win and Kansas City loses. Guess what? The Raiders win the AFC West, which would be freaking crazy.
That would be. Yeah.
Kansas City just wants to put that to bed this week. They're at home. They want to put it to bed. So I think
I'm with you.
Yeah.
What G Money got?
G Money has Cincinnati.
Ooh, I don't know what he knows, but who knows? All right. Miami, Baltimore. This one. There's a lot at stake here because if Miami wins this game and they can find a way to beat Buffalo next week, they're in the driver's seat in the AFC.
Yeah, right. And if they lose this week, then the Buffalo Miami game next week becomes assuming Buffalo beats New England, that will be for the AFC Championship game. That game might get flexed actually next week. I have tickets for it, so I'm waiting to see what day and what time it's going to be even. But a lot of implications in this game, right? And you know what? Believe it or not, I'm taking the Dolphins. And, and I haven't been a homer. I've been with the Dolphins. I've been picking against them here and there. And I just got done saying how good Baltimore looks. But I think Baltimore just has such this. They went on the road. They did what they had to do. They come back home. They just let up a little bit in this game, enough to get Tyreek loose a couple times. And I think if you get into a shooting match, because this is the number one scoring offense against the number one scoring defense. I agree. If you get into a shootout, it's Miami's game. If Baltimore can keep Miami to 24 or less, I think Baltimore can win. But once Miami gets to that 27 or 30 number, then it becomes a shootout, then I think it's Miami's game. So, and I think Miami can do that. I really do. I'm going to go Miami on this one.
What does G Money have?
G Money has Miami as well.
Whoa! All right, so this is where we set ourselves apart. By the way, the weather's going to be cold in Baltimore. I think it's going to be a little freezing rain potentially as well. Miami, though, they're all kiss-ass, soft boys. There's no way Baltimore lets down at home. Baltimore wins this game handily at the end of the day. I got Baltimore.
Okay.
All right. The Saturday night game, Monday Night Football on Saturday on ESPN. The Lions go to Dallas. This is going to be a really good game as well. Would you agree?
It is. And
Dallas is running, a 13-game home winning streak, I think it is, right, at this point in time?
Yeah, and you think, right, and you say to yourself, hey, the Cowboys on the road lost like they've typically done in Miami last week. Miami finally got over their hump of beating a team with a winning record. So everything points to the Cowboys bouncing back in this one. But I just have this weird feeling. That the Lions win this game. I think the Lions are just the coaching, I don't know. There's something about that team mentally that I think takes them over the top and wins this game. So believe it or not, I'm going with the Lions in this one.
What does G Money got? I know he loves the Lions.
And G Money has the Lions as well.
Oh, all right. So I tie you now. Okay. All right. So we're tied up for the season. But Dallas wins this game handily. Dan Campbell, I know Mike McCarthy's not the best coach in the world. He's better than Dan Campbell. And by the way, McCarthy's coaching for his job. Because if he doesn't win a playoff game and he needs this to help his momentum, he's out. He's done.
That's why.
Bill Belichick will be there next year, guaranteed.
And that's why I picked against them, because I just think Campbell's better coach. Here, check this out. Okay. Last week we had two games different, and you won them both, right? We talked about the Baltimore game and the New England Denver game. So this week we have two different. It's the last two we just did because we were all the same up to that point.
Yeah.
So you have the Ravens and I have the Dolphins, and you have the Cowboys and I have the Lions, which you obviously have the two favorite teams. I mean, you have the two home teams, you got the two favored teams. There's no question about it. I'm picking the dogs here. But you're right. You win those two over me this week. Guess what? You're going to be right there. I think you might be tied with me on the season.
Yeah,
So
yeah. All right, real quick, let's go through some college bowl picks real quick as we got down on time. All right, the Peach Bowl, I believe it's being played on Saturday. Penn State, 3.5-point favorite against Ole Miss. Who do you like?
I'm taking Penn State. I'll lay the 3.5.
I'm with you on that. What's G-Money got?
G-Money has Ole Miss.
All right, Fiesta Bowl. Liberty, the long shot here from the non-power 5 conference, gets a New Year's 6, as they call it, even though I don't think this game's on. Oh, yeah, it is on New Year's. They play Oregon, a 17-point favorite with a weak defense. What do you think?
It doesn't matter. Bo Nix will score 50-something in this game. I'm laying the 17. I'm taking Oregon.
Ooh, I'm going Liberty. What's G-Money got?
G-Money is Liberty as well.
Okay. Ooh, now I'm nervous. All right. The next one is the Orange Bowl on Saturday. Georgia is now up to a 20-point favorite. Number 6 versus number 5, Florida State.
Right.
What do you think?
Right. And obviously the money's coming in on Georgia. And you know what? Florida State has something to play for here. They're saying, hey, we should be in this thing, and we're not. And you're giving me 20 points on top of that. I think that says something. I think that fires them up. I'm taking Florida State.
I am too. And by the way, Florida State, you're doing this for all of college football because everybody said you're not in because you didn't have your quarterback, blah, blah, blah. For the sanctity of the sport, you have to at least cover. I don't care about win, but at least cover.
Right, because what happens if Georgia wins this game by 28? Everyone's going to be like, I told you so. Florida State
And then no other
deserve
team will
to
ever
be
get
in
a
the
shot again. It'll be
They didn't
SEC
even
Big
deserve-
Ten forever.
Yeah, they didn't deserve to be in the conversation. So they have to cover.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, the playoffs on Monday, starting with the Rose Bowl. Alabama, Michigan, -2. Michigan is the favorite in that game. What do you think?
Yeah, and I'm going to go with Michigan. I think Michigan's the national champion this year. I'm going to lay the 2. It's basically a pick in my mind. So
I am too, but I'm so afraid because Nick's got them rolling. They're playing much better than they did in the first 4 games of the year.
Well, look what they did to
I'm
Georgia.
very nervous.
Yep, they did that with Georgia in the SEC championship game. I agree. G-Money is going with Bama in this one, even though he hates Bama, but he's going with them.
No, he might be right.
And you and I get Michigan. All right.
Yeah, the last one, the Sugar Bowl, Texas, Washington. Texas is a 4.5-point favorite. What do you think?
Yeah, and I do like Texas. I would love to see a Texas Michigan. Actually, I wouldn't mind seeing a Washington Michigan final either. But I think Washington can cover. This is 4.5's a lot. This is going to be a field goal game. I'm going to take the points with Washington.
Yeah, 4.5. Hey, PB, until Washington hasn't lost a game yet. Texas has. They lost to Oklahoma, who now lost another game yesterday in the Valero Alamo Bowl. So I'm with you. Until Washington loses, I can't pick against them at this point in time.
Yeah. So good. So they might not just cover. They might win outright, right?
I think so. Yeah. What's G-Money got?
G-Money also has Washington, so we're all the same. Right. Imagine if Texas though wins and Bama wins, and they have a rematch. Bama's only loss in the season. If that happens, Bama's going to win the whole thing, in my opinion.
I'm with you on that. I would agree on that. I would agree. On the other hand, I only wish the Rose Bowl wasn't the host of the Bama-Michigan game, but the final, because if Michigan and Washington play, it would be the last semblance of Big Ten versus Big Pac-12, right?
Just like the old day, right? Just like the old day. And that's what I picked. My final prediction at the beginning of this year was Michigan against USC in the final. And I said, old classic Rose Bowl, right? And it could
we might still get some semblance of that with Washington, right? We'll see.
Right.
Man.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Happy New Year's.
All right. Same to you, man.